Hey everybody. So this was the assignment that was actually on already on Canvas, but just in case you did not get a chance to finish this, make sure you pause the video and just read the problem as I read through it, and then try on your own and then see what the answer is. So this one was, it said a rectangle that is 2 inches by 3 inches have a scale factor of 7. That's really important. So scale factor of 7, remember, means that you're just multiplying by 7. And it says, what are the side lengths of the scaled copy? So make sure you, if you have not done this yet, pause it, and then hopefully this is the answer you came up with. So if you take the 2 and the 3 and you multiply each of those by 7, you get that the new side lengths are 14 inches, and then 3 times 7 is 21 inches. And that's the answer to number 1. Suppose you want to scale it back to its original size. So that means you want to take, it's now 14 and 21, but you want to go backwards now to 2 and 3. So remember, we talked about in class that instead of multiplying by 7, the opposite of multiplying by 7 is dividing by 7. But remember, we said that when you're doing scale factors, you can't actually write dividing by 7. So a reminder, the same thing that means dividing by 7 is when you multiply by the reciprocal of 7, which means you take the 7 over 1 and you make it 1 over 7. So we would probably accept, we give you a little bit of credit if you would have said divided by 7, but the real answer to get full credit, you'd have to say times 1/7. Okay, next. Okay. For the next question, don't use a ruler. Just kind of mark what you would do with that. Hold on one second, guys. So this question says, I'm trying to move this around so you can see the whole question. It says, make a scale drawing. So it says a rectangular swimming pool measures 50 feet in length and 25 feet in width. And it says, make a scale drawing. So you're going to actually make a drawing that's on paper, not the real thing. You're going to shrink it down into a scale drawing where 1 centimeter represents 5 meters. So 1 centimeter is really small. So this is like the picture, and 5 meters is what it's going to be in real life. So here's what we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to remember we have to make our scale. So we now know 1 centimeter is the same as 5 meters in real life. So we're going to do our little arrows. Let me do this in a different color. So if you're going this way, if you're going from centimeters to meters, it's going from 1 to 5. You're multiplying by 5. If you're going backwards, it means you're multiplying by 1/5, which, remember, fancy way of saying divided by 5. So it says, if you're going to make a scale drawing of this, these numbers are both in meters. So we have to take each one of these and do them separately. So we have the number of meters so that we have this way and we're going backwards. So if you're going backwards, it means you have to divide by 5. That's going from meters to centimeters. So if you do the 50 meters divided by 5, you get that the first one's going to be 50 divided by 5 is 10 centimeters. And if the 25 meters in width, if you do 25 divided by 5, you're going to get 5 centimeters, because remember, you're turning it into centimeters. So these would be your new drawing. You'd basically draw a rectangle and you would say that this side would be 5 centimeters and this side would be 10 centimeters. And if you actually had a centimeter ruler, you can actually draw it. And the last one that you had to do, oh wait, no, there's a couple more. Sorry. Gotta go all the way down. So this one says Bethesda, I did it again, I'm sorry. So it says Bethesda to Silver Spring, sorry, it got kind of cut off here. Bethesda to Silver Spring is 2 miles. So if you go in real life, if you go from one to the other, it's 2 miles. 2 map markers are using different scales. So that's basically saying 2 map. It says Paul uses where 5 centimeters is 1 mile. Sarah uses a scale where 10 centimeters equals 4 miles. And it says whose map is actually going to be bigger. Okay, so here's the deal. We have to convert the 2 miles into centimeters. Okay, so the first one, so if it's 5 centimeters equals 1 mile, you can see that if you're going from centimeters to miles, you divide by 5 or times 1/5. But if you're going from miles to centimeters, you can see it goes from 1 to 5, you're multiplying by 5. So in this case, we're going from miles to centimeters. So you have to multiply by 5 for this scale. So if you were using Paul's map would be 2 times 5, and his map would actually be 10 centimeters long, because we converted the 2 miles using his scale. Now, Sarah uses a different scale, so we have to do a little bit different. So we have 10 centimeters equals 4 miles. Now, this is a little trickier. So if we're going from miles to centimeters, it goes from 4 to 10. So remember, if you're going from 4 to 10, we're actually going to have to divide. the new one, 10, divided by the old one. And when you do that, you get 2.5. So the only way that you can go from 4 to 10 is multiply by 2.5. And if you're going backwards, you are dividing by 2.5. But in this case, remember, we know how many miles it is. We know it's 2 miles. So we're going to do 2 times 2.5, and that would get us that Sarah's map is only going to be 5 centimeters. So the question was, whose map will be larger? That would be Paul's, because Paul's is going to be 10 centimeters between the two, whereas Sarah's is only going to be 5. All right, and last problem, go ahead and pause. I keep doing this, and I apologize. I want you to go ahead and pause and do the, we're going to do the last one. So let me get it up to, sorry about that. Gotta drag it all the way up. I apologize. Oh boy. Almost there. Sorry about this. All right, it's right here. All right. So basically, you have to make these conversions right here. So you're changing meters into millimeters, and you're changing millimeters into meters, and you're changing centimeters into millimeters. Okay. So take a second, try this, and then we're going to go ahead and do it. So remember, meters to millimeters, you have to make your scale first. So we know 1 meter equals 1,000 millimeters, okay? So let's see, which way are we going? We're going from meters to millimeters. That's going this way, from meters to millimeters. So you could see that, what are you multiplying by? Well, if it's going from 1 to 1,000, it means you're multiplying by 1,000. So that's all you have to do here. You have to multiply this 4 times 1,000, and you get an answer of 4,000. Here, you're going from millimeters to meters. That's going the other way. So if you're going from this way to there, you're going from 1,000 to 1. That means you're dividing by 1,000. And if you take 67 and divide this by 1,000, oops, sorry about that, you get, sorry again. Oh boy, sorry about that, guys. Sorry again. There it is. So if you're going to divide by 1,000, and if you divide by 1,000, you are going to get, the decimal is going to move to the left 3 times. You're going to get 0.067 meters. Sorry, I lost the meters. And the last one, you're going from centimeters to millimeters. Now, you guys don't know how many centimeters are in a millimeter, so we have to go backwards. So we know that there are, in 1 meter, there are 100 centimeters. So let's first convert this to meters. So we're going from centimeters to meters. And if you're going from centimeters to meters, you have to divide by 100. So in 100 centimeters, there are, if you're dividing 100 by 100, you get that there is 1 meter. Okay. So we know we're talking about 1 meter. So how many, in 1 meter, how many millimeters are there? Well, there's 1,000. So that's why this one would be 1,000. In 100 centimeters, there's 1,000 millimeters. Okay, and that is the rest of the review sheet. Feel free to watch as many times as you'd like. Just make sure that you understand as we go through it, okay? Sorry, folks.